Hi pretties, welcome back to another sewing video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this super cute canvas handbag. So I am making 9 bags. To begin, these are all my materials: the fabric, interfacing, and the handles. So the first thing that I did was cut out all the fabric that I was going to need. Here is the lining. These are the pockets. Here I have the main fabric pieces with the interfacing. This is how the bag will look with a pocket on the inside. Isn't it so cute? I am making these to give out as a goodie bag, as a giveaway bag, or as a party favor for my birthday. So let's make the first one. Lining, pocket, main fabric, main fabric, main fabric, and interfacing. So we're gonna start with the main fabric. I'm gonna put the pocket and the lining aside. Okay, so I use a medium weight fusible interfacing for the top portion of the bag. For this bottom portion, I used a firmer interfacing. It's not fusible, just because that's what I had it on hand, but it gave it better structure so that the bag will stand. So that's your first step. Attach your interfacing and set them aside for a second. Well, if you have a fusible interfacing, you would also attach it to your third panel and continue from there. This one isn't fusible, so I'm gonna stitch this all around. I'm gonna use a zigzag stitch to just stitch really close to the edge, so attach it. And then we'll attach all 3 pieces together. Okay, so I got my bottom piece here. I attached the interfacing, stitched it on like I said with a zigzag stitch. Can you see that? So I used a zigzag stitch to attach it because, again, my interfacing wasn't fusible. So now I'm going to leave this piece in the middle. I'm going to find my right side. Everything is facing right side up. So right now I'm going to take right side to right side and attach the front pieces together. So I'm attaching one side to attach the other side. It'll end up looking like this. So now, using a 5/8 seam allowance, I'm going to stitch down the side. I'm going to do one side first, obviously, so that I can afterwards open this up and stitch this side down. Okay, so this is how the front looks now that it's stitched down. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to open that seam and press it open. Okay, so once you press it open, just put it to the side. Okay, so now we grab our lining piece on the folds. We're gonna leave it on the folds right now, and then grab your pocket. With right sides together, I'm gonna fold it in half. We're gonna stitch the pocket, leaving an opening so that we can flip it over later. So I'm gonna put a pin here just to remember to leave an opening here there. I'll start stitching here all around up to this side. Don't stitch the top, obviously the fold is there. Now we're just gonna cut the corners. And once we cut the corners, we're going to open so just first one side, then flip it onto the other side. Now with the opening that we left, we're gonna flip over. Break up those corners. I am going to fold it in half. Fold it in half to create a crease. And then we're gonna fold this fabric in half. Create a crease. We're gonna measure from the top down 15. I'm gonna use my pin to indicate. And we're gonna take the pocket and we're gonna line it right there. That's what that line was for, to align it. So, leaving 13 inches this way and 13 this way. So I'm stitching around the edge, very close to the edge to close that pocket, leaving this side here open. Pocket is on, the opening is here on this edge. And we're gonna grab a little square, 5 inches long and 6 inches wide. This is my main fabric, my main piece. Face to face, fold it over. This is the fold. I'm going to take the pattern piece that I just cut out, which is 6 inches wide and 5 inches long, and with the wide side this way, I'm going to place it on this corner and I'm going to cut that out. Okay, and I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to grab my lining piece and I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure it's properly aligned. We open up the main fabric and we open up our lining, it up together. Now we lined it up right side to right side. My lining is a little short, it's okay, it'll all work out, I promise. So we're gonna stitch both of these sides, this side and this side, again using our 5/8 seam allowance. So now that the sides are stitched together, I'm gonna go under the fabric and bring everything together. So align the pieces back together. Match the seams here, and I'm gonna pin it. Match the seams. Then from that seam line, we're gonna mark 14. So again, from that seam line that we have here, find your seam line. You're gonna put your ruler there and find 14 centimeters. And I'm gonna put a pin there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. 14 is here. I put that here. And then I'm gonna put a pin here. So I have 2 dots, one here and one here. It measures 14 from the seam line to here, and from this seam line to here, 14 centimeters. I'm gonna turn my fabric around and do the same thing. So now we're gonna go to the sewing machine and we're gonna stitch from the corner to that marking that we made. So from this corner to that marking, from this corner to that marking. So we're stitching from here to here. Then you stop. Don't stitch this middle part. And then back to this marking, stitch all the way to the other edge. Then we turn it around and we do the same thing. From this marking all the way to the end. And then from the dot, again, all the way to the end. The middle here, do not stitch that. Okay, so now that those corners are stitched, we're going to take that seam, is press that seam up. Then turn it around and press the other side up. There we go. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the other end. Alright, so now that that is done, we're gonna stitch our corners. So open this up a little bit. Our first corner, we're gonna grab it, open it, and match it. There we go. Pin it. Do the same thing to this side. Open it up and match it. We're gonna do the same thing with the lining piece. Okay, and now we're gonna stitch across here, stitch across each of the corners using the same seam allowance, 5/8. Ooh, we're getting to the good parts. Okay, so now that the corners are stitched, we're gonna take our main fabric and our lining and line them up. I'm gonna pin it down. So attach the lining to the main fabric. One, and then here is the other. Tuck this in a little. So here's the other. We're gonna stitch this time using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So now we're gonna stitch to attach the lining to the main fabric, both sides. The back will look like this. Make sure you're attaching the right ends together. Alrighty, it's time to flip. So now we flip to the right side. Find that opening and just start pushing everything through. So here's our lining and our main fabric, and I'm just gonna press everything in place, and then we're gonna top stitch. We're gonna top stitch the side openings. And look at our pocket, see? So to do the top stitch, you're gonna stitch very close to the edge here, straight down, and then once you get here, you come across like a box, like a square, and then come across and then flip and turn and sew and stitch down this edge, again close to the edge. So just straight line, make sure you do a cross here. I'm gonna put my pin just to tell me where to start that cross. Do the same thing to both sides. Okay, that top stitching is done on both sides. And now the last thing left for us to do is apply our handles. So grab 2 hands. The way you're gonna stitch it is you're gonna put your handle here and your fabric over, and then you just keep stitching and pulling, stitching down here and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling till you get to the end. Again, I'm gonna put my fabric through. Pull the handle and bring the fabric over. And here is the final result.